shit.
What's up, everybody? Andrew Carroll here, charmed and disarmed. Is my phone slipping? It's looking like it's sliding.
It is.
Look. Participate in the show, phone, or else.
Oh, there. I got it.
Oh, look. Hold on. These are real life problems, people. Real life problems. Look.
There you go.
There we go. All right. Can we see? Okay. All right. And to my right, Look. We got.
Do you want to start over?
No, I don't want to start over. This is real stuff. This is real
this is
stuff.
cool.
Introduce yourself, man.
Benny Ruiz, Un1que Apparel.
That's right. So I had to put on my other hoodie because we switched locations because now we might speak quietly.
Yeah.
We were
crazy.
the last. We just did 30 amazing minutes that I'm gonna upload anyway, but the audio wasn't very good because I think the hipster that was behind the counter was slowly turning up the radio the longer we were doing our show.
Yeah, I think dude was being kind of salty and he's being a hater a little bit and shit, but that's all good. New location. Actually like this location.
Yeah, it's
chill.
way nice. And I've got my Un1que Apparel on.
I still got my shit, as you can see.
Yep.
Still shining.
So we're at Bjorn's coffee shop now in Salt Lake, and they gave us a dog treat that I asked them if it was for humans, and it's actually a gingerbread cookie.
That shit's pretty good. I already ate mine. I was about to show you mine.
Oh, good. It's delicious. I just wanted to show you that I thought that this was for a dog, and I didn't have one. But the barista told me that it was for people, so I trusted her. And it is delicious. And if it was for a dog, I regret nothing. All right, man. So we just got done wrapping up a really great episode that was apparently the universe was like, that's just for you guys.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's really what it's all
good.
about.
Yeah,
So
it's all good.
go ahead and tell everybody, what have you got going on right now? Because I know you're a very busy man, and I am incredibly grateful that you said yes to this second episode and are willing to share your time with me.
As far as what's going on, let's see, like life in general, or
Yeah, absolutely.
oh shit, I'm a busy dude, man. So, got family going on. Most of y'all don't even know. So, on top of the brand, I have a full-time gig. I got a part-time gig. I do personal training on top of the part-time and the full-time gig. Volunteer with kids, teaching boxing classes twice a week.
Where do you do that? Where do you volunteer?
It's a junior high school. I can't really tell you though because for
They haven't given express consent for him to name.
yeah. Just like I can't record videos of any of the classes or anything like that. I can just kind of tell people, I'm just training over here, but I kind of try to keep it secretive because honestly, I'm not really that kind of dude who goes out and talks about shit that he's doing either. Because to me, it's like, I don't want to be that guy who's always like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this, because a lot of people talk about all the shit that they're doing, but it's like, are you really doing it?
Right.
And plus, I don't like talking about what I'm doing. I just like doing it because I don't like being a guy who's looking for that like props and shit like that.
I understand that. So, I hear you saying that the only validation that you need is from yourself.
Absolutely. As long as I'm happy with everything I'm doing, and it gives me some kind of self-fulfillment, that's what my ultimate goal is. With the brand, with work, with job. Like, I'm fortunate enough and I'm blessed enough to be doing several things that I absolutely fucking love. I absolutely love and I have a passion for, and if I can share it with other people or help change other people's lives, I mean, why not?
A little bit louder.
If I can change people's lives and help people get better and improve what they're doing, by all means, I'm gonna do it because I love what I do.
You know what's funny? I keep cracking up because you're not in frame enough, but also, I don't think people ever look at either one of us and they're gonna be like, "That's a soft-spoken gentleman." Because I get told all the time I'm too quiet.
Oh,
and I like, it probably never comes across on camera.
No, not at all.
And I'm a public speaker too, and I'm not quiet when I do that. But like in one-on-one conversation, I'm like a mumbler.
No, I'm like that too. You know what's funny is every time I'm talking to someone, everyone's always like, "What?" And I'll say it again, and they're like, what? And I'm like, my bad. I don't have to say it louder, but normally when I am loud is when I'm talking like in front of an audience, because that's when I kind of transform, and I know like I really have to be loud, and I really have to get like my message across. Or I talk a lot with my hands, like you can see. So when I'm talking, I do a lot of self-expression with my hands. But yeah, like when I'm having like meetings with like my ambassadors or like models and things like that, we're getting ready to shoot. We'll be in the middle of a conversation. I'll be like, yeah, you know, and they're like, what? I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, can you not hear me? They're like, nah, oh, my bad.
And then
I don't have to speak up.
You start speaking at a volume that's normal for other people. Yeah. You're like, I'm shouting at you now.
Dude, so we were doing a photo shoot last weekend, right? So me, shout out Oscar SKR Photography, and then one of my ambassadors, Aaron, and we were doing a photo shoot, and we were downtown, and it's out of nowhere. I was like loud because I'm used to people not being able to hear me. Right? Yeah. We were walking, and I was like, yeah, man. They were like, what? And they both looked at me like, what? Like, now I stopped, and I was like, damn, that shit was like really loud. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, my bad. I'm used to people like complaining they don't hear me, and all of a sudden I'm loud, and then people are like looking at me like I'm crazy.
They're like, sir, you need to calm down.
Yeah, they're like, yo, bro, you gotta like turn that down just a notch and shit. I was like, oh my bad.
So you're talking about models, ambassadors, photo shoots. Is that all part of the Un1que Apparel brand?
Yeah, so what I do is I have models reach out to me all the time, you know, wanting to be a part of the brand, loving the message behind the brand and things like that.
And
so,
tell the people the message again.
So the message behind the brand is, if you look at Un1que, the way the word is structured is there's only one you. So that's what makes all of you unique, right? There's only one you. Even if you look at the logo, a lot of people think it looks like a Triton, but the idea is there's only one you. So understanding that's what makes you unique. There's this one you. There's never going to be another person like you in this world, and the fact that you're born, and it's like 1 in a trillion or some shit. Not good at math or whatever.
It's crazy, the statistics of that.
Just the fact that one sperm beat out 1 million other little fucking spermies to make your ass, and for you to be here and shit, that's quite amazing.
Yes.
You know, and just, so that message was I wanted to tell people, because a lot of us get caught up in wanting to be everyone else and wanting to do what everyone else is doing. So the unique is just, you are unique from the very moment you were born. From the very moment you were born, you're special. You have gifts, you have abilities. It's just a lot of us aren't shown how to tap into those abilities because we have parents who weren't shown how to do that. Yep. So when you have people who are screwed up, showing you how they were raised, and they're teaching you ways that were kind of screwed up and not necessarily right, you're gonna grow up all your life being fucked up too, right? And having certain perspectives and values and, excuse me, too much coffee, morals. So, you know, I wanted to teach people and just show people that, you know, I want to create a brand that's not just based on your appearance, you know, whether it's physical or whether it's, well, I guess physical is just the whole appearance, you know, where it's tied to labels. You have to have a certain body type and things like that. To me, it was more so of, I want you to feel like you can be a part of something simply based on who you are, and not feeling ashamed of who you are. Your background, you know, whether you got purple hair, black hair, short, tall, fat, skinny.
What about thinning hair?
Thinning hair is all good. I mean, you know, bald guys are sexy too, you know what I'm saying? So it's all good. Because people always want to take negative things to try to use them against you, because it gives them power, right? So when you think about power, it's these labels that we allow to take the power from us. You know, black, white, short, tall, fat, skinny, ugly. It's when you're told that all your life, it's a label, right? But that label only has power if you allow it to have power, because it's you that's giving that label power. Because you're thinking that way about yourself. You know, it's your own insecurity. So a lot of times when you're at home, you'll be sitting there and you're afraid to do something, and no one's even there telling you to be afraid of it. You're just afraid of it internally because it's you telling you this shit. So you have to understand that you have to take that power back. You have to say, okay, I'm fat, cool. I'm cool with being fat. You know, my hair is gone. You know, my kids are always clowning me, making fun of me. Like, at least I got hair. I'm like, shit, I ain't got no hair, but I still look good. Like, what? You know, it's just having an understanding of being confident in every element except your flaws, except, you know, people are going to tell you you're too young. What does that even mean, you're too young? You know, you're too old. What does that even mean, you're too old? What is too old?
Right.
You know, especially when it comes to like trying to live your dreams and go after your goals and do what you want to do. You're never too old and you're never too young.
Absolutely.
It's just people are going to say what they can, people are going to say what they want to say to push you down because you have drive and ambition that they don't have, and they're jealous and they're envious of that.
Absolutely.
And they don't want to see you be successful.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
They're going to tell you whatever they can to try to take that power from you. And if you're like, shit, I hold the power. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we kind of, before we started the other shoot, we kind of touched on that a little bit about how, you know, like you have this immediate circle of people around you who you know they love you and they care about you. And then you start attacking a dream and a vision and a goal, and you're telling them about it, and they're like, oh, that's good. And then you make the ask, right? And you're like, well, can you support me in that? Like, can you maybe share my stuff on your social media or this thing or that thing? And they don't just flat out say no, but they don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, to each their own and everything, but that's all, I mean, I don't know how you take that. I know you don't need external validation. I like to say that I don't. Sometimes I do, you know. Sometimes it feels good when somebody is like, hey, you're crushing it.
No, it does. Go ahead, finish.
It's just, you know, I try to support everybody that's in my circle in their hustle. Whether that's their 9 to 5 and they don't have an entrepreneurial drive, that's fine. That's just who you are, maybe. Or is somebody, there's a guy I know who left everything in Montana and moved to LA to pursue his comedy career. And I have mad respect for that.
Absolutely.
And I support that. He only ever reaches out to me when he needs something, and that's fine, you know. I wholeheartedly support the fact that he gave up what he had going on there because he wants to be a stand-up comedian. That's not easy.
Yeah.
That's incredibly difficult. Yeah. And I think he did he went for a season to fish in Alaska, and he's grinding out there, and he's broke, but he's improved his stand-up game. He's gotten a lot better at it, and it's gonna break for him, you know, because he's putting in the work and the effort.
Absolutely.
And there's people I see on his feed all the time. People just rip him down. People constantly tear him down, and all I can think when I see that stuff is he had the courage to step out of his comfort zone and go after what he wants. The rest of you can shut your mouths.
Yep.
You know, he's being a savage. He's being brave.
Hell yeah.
And I have the utmost respect for that.
You know, initially when I first started the brand, I was always, or just overall in general, you're always looking for props from people. You know, so I'm going to tell you this. So one of my biggest things as being a father, okay, was I used to always get pissed off because, you know, especially with my oldest son.
How old is he?
So my oldest son is 20.
Okay.
And we'd go play football.
But you're not like 33 like me?
No, I'm a little bit older.
You're a little bit older?
A little bit older,
okay.
yeah.
You're doing it well. You're doing it well.
Thanks. Yeah. So my oldest son, right, he's playing ball. So we would go and we'd practice all the damn time, and I would show him these different techniques and different drills, and he wouldn't do this shit, right? And then his coach would come and show him the same exact stuff, and he would do it. And it would piss me off, right?
Yeah.
It would piss me off because I'm like, yo, like I'm showing you the same exact shit, and you're giving your coach props, and it's me out there working with you 7 days a week. It's me going on the weekends, waking you up early and going and running with you.
Right.
Or going over drills after drills, or going off the footwork and going off this stuff. And then once I realized that, you know, I can't expect my son to react a certain way, or once I realized like I can't look for that validation, because what that is that's my own insecurity, right?
Yep.
As long as I know what I'm doing, I can't have that expectation of my son to show me love. I just have to have an understanding of one day he's going to show it to me,
right,
and pay it back. So it was hard for me to get over that, because I have that issue with all my sons, right? So one day what I did is I woke up and I made a decision. And this goes back to the brand. I made a decision that I'm not going to let a complete stranger be my son's role model.
I like that.
right?
I like that a lot.
I'm not gonna let
That's deep.
LeBron James be my son's role model. I'm not gonna let Wiz Khalifa be my son's role model.
That's probably a good thing.
No, I'm just saying, because when kids look at their role models as people in the music industry, as people in the, athletic industry or athletic professionals and things like that. So for me, I promised myself, this is a promise I made myself, was I'm gonna be my kids' role model no matter what. I'm gonna bust my ass and I'm gonna show them what a role model is. And that's someone who grinds day in and day out, has no expectations, and just shows them as long as you work hard enough and you believe in something and you want it bad enough, you can go out and get it and you can go out and make it happen.
Absolutely.
And you can become your own role model. You can be the first of everything you want to be.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
No, I like every time we get to like serious points, dudes.
No, that's
like,
all good.
Working in the background and dumping ice every time we come somewhere. But that's it. This is really happening in like real time.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
So. I work very hard to try to not have expectations of other people. Now, and I think in a lot of situations I'm successful in that. However, I also feel like I drop the ball when it comes to something like romantic relationships or family members, those kinds of things, because I think with, say for example, like the label of a girlfriend or a wife or even mom, you're gonna have expectations in those relationships. And do you find that you still have those, or have you figured out how to not have expectations? Like in your marriage, you're married, so do you have, because I really can't imagine being married and having a wife and not having an expectation of her.
You gotta wait for that shit to stop real quick. Like no one's here, and all of a sudden motherfuckers just start coming in like by the truckloads and stuff.
They are. So I can't imagine being married and not having expectations of what my wife's role in our relationship is.
No, you know what I learned? I learned this the hard way.
Tell me.
I learned this the hard way. So, you know when like you get in a fight with your spouse
and it's heated
and you always have this expectation of, well, if I just tell her how I really feel, she's gonna react this way. And she always reacts the complete opposite of what you think she's gonna react. That's always gonna happen. Why? It's because you're expecting her to react a certain way to what you're saying.
Right.
So what I did was, with the no expectations, I applied that all across the board to my whole entire life.
Okay.
And once I did that, I realized that I can't hold my wife up to these standards.
Right.
Right? I can't expect her to react this way when I say something. I just have to let her react, and if she doesn't like the way I say it, I can apologize and say, you know what, I'm sorry I wasn't trying to be an asshole, or I'm sorry I wasn't trying to be a dick. I'm just letting you know how I feel.
Right.
And honestly, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I'm just telling you exactly how I feel.
Because those feelings are valid, and you have every right to communicate them to your partner.
But that's the key. They're valid to me.
Yes.
Now, the way she feels and her perspective is her perspective. Now, the key is to listen, but not just listen, to actually hear. That's the hard part, is hear what they're saying and try to hear what their perspective is.
Absolutely.
And have an understanding of that. So I applied that to my marriage. I applied that to my relationship with my kids. My kids, I know I fucked up my sons from a lot of shit that I did, because I didn't have a father, so I didn't know how to be a father.
Right.
Especially my oldest son. Like, I know he's seen things and stuff like that, and times I was an asshole to him. But what I did is there was a lot of like guilt I felt for a long time.
Right.
And I sat down with my son and I told him, and I was like, you know what? I'm like, I love you. You're the most important thing to me in the world. I know I fucked up. I know I wasn't the best father at certain times. I know I wasn't, the best person at certain times, and I hope you forgive me. And I hope you understand that I'm just doing the best that I can.
Right.
No one gives you a handbook on how to be a good dad. No one gives you a handbook on how to be a good father, especially if you don't have a man in your life to show you how to be that.
Yeah.
So I make sure I always tell my kids, and I communicate with them, and I let them know how I feel. When I'm at home, I'll cry all the time.
Yes.
And they're like, and they understand that my dad's just being who he is.
Yes.
And I teach them it's okay if you can cry, it's okay if you express yourself, because that's what's going to make you a better human being, is expressing how you feel and saying how you feel. And especially when you're at school. My youngest son, man, that kid, so my youngest son, we raised him where it's like, dude, if you got a problem, you just speak your mind, even if it's with a teacher, an adult, but as long as it's respectful.
Yes.
You have every right and every reason to question something.
Yes, you do.
So he's always questioning, always asking, and a lot of teachers don't like it. And we'll go, and this kind of goes to all my sons. We'll go to school and they'll be like, "Hey, your son asked this, this, and this, and this." And my wife and I are like, "Man, what's the problem?"
Yeah. Right.
Well, we don't think this is appropriate or whatever. And says who? Like, you don't know their experiences. You don't know our experiences as people of color and what we've had to deal with.
Right.
So if you're teaching my son this, and he's going to question asking him why, and if you can't give him the correct answer, it's our job to educate him and teach him the correct answer.
Absolutely.
So that kind of goes hand in hand with no expectations. It's just when you remove it, it opens up the whole world to you, because your only expectations you should have are your standards for yourself.
Right. I completely agree with that. That's
You know what I'm
beautiful.
saying?
And you just touched on something else that's critically important to me also, and that is parental involvement in a child's education. So many people send their kids off to school and that's the end of it. They don't interact with the teachers, they don't get involved at the school, they just let it go, right? It's when a parent is involved in a child's education, that child understands and appreciates on a much higher level how
Absolutely.
important that educational opportunity is. Because if mom and dad don't care, why should the kid care? If you're just shipping them off to school and they come home and you don't ask, what'd you learn today? How's your homework? Like, what's going on? Or they know that you have an open communication with their teacher, they're not going to try. Some kids will. I got to take that back. Some kids will, for sure. But even those kids that are self-motivated enough to take advantage of their education will succeed at a higher level when parents get involved in school. And athletics and sports have their place and they're great developmental tools for kids, but I would like to see parents be as involved in their child's in-classroom education, as a lot of parents get freaked out about how well their kid is playing football.
Yeah.
Because the in-classroom stuff is going to take 98% of these kids further than crushing them on the weekends on some traveling sports league.
Yep.
So, and you want to talk about taking the joy out of an activity. I've seen so many of these parents that just look fried to death at this. We've got 40 soccer games this week and they're all 600 miles away. Where we got to get there. I'm like, no, we don't.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I do not have time for that, man. That is crazy.
There are plenty of opportunities in your local community for your excellent child to excel.
Absolutely.
And you should be looking for those and taking advantage where you can.
Yeah, I think education. So to me, I had someone reach out to me on IG, and we were having a conversation, and he was telling me, what do you think is going to carry you further in life, education or talent? And I was like, education, like hands down, like, are you crazy? And he was like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not focused enough to build on that talent's only going to carry you so far. And eventually you're going to lose a lot of your talent and your abilities, right?
You're going to get old.
Yeah.
You're going to get old.
No, education is something you're never going to lose. That's something you're going to carry with you year after year after year. And the more education you have, the more the world opens up to you.
Absolutely.
And you start seeing the world from a completely different perspective. But not only does the world open up to you, opportunities open up to you.
Yes.
Right? If you have talent, you get an injury, then what happens?
Oh, I guess you better hit the books.
Right? Yeah, you're sidelined, and then what? And then if you don't have no education, and your broke ass is sitting at home with a broken leg, thinking about what you could and should have been and should have done, and your ass is just sitting there.
And
No
I want to say I can feel this from you, and we've gotten to know each other a little bit, that you and I are using the term education as any experience that broadens your horizons.
Absolutely.
It's not specific to school. We're not saying that yes, go to school and try hard, and if college is a financially viable option for you and you can afford it, then definitely go. But it's not for everyone, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
Education is hitting the library and reading every single book you possibly can. Education is going out for that internship or working a summer job in construction and learning how to build something. Because when you go to remodel your kitchen and you're an adult and you have the funds to do that, if you know how, you're gonna save yourself $15,000.
Absolutely.
You know, because
Absolutely.
you're gonna pay that contractor a fat stack of cash to come in
Absolutely.
there and drive some nails and put some cabinets together. So be educating yourself across the board. Get all of the experiences you can. And I'm very fortunate to have had a mom who provided those kind of opportunities to me. Now, I can't necessarily, I could get on some YouTube and I could do a kitchen remodel if I needed to. I could figure that kind of stuff out. It might not go as smoothly as it could, but I try, you know, and I learn very kinesthetically. Like when I touch and do, that sticks with me for a very long time. So I'm blessed in that way, but it's just get involved, get your hands dirty,
Yeah,
do everything.
absolutely. Gotta get a trade. Gotta get a trade.
Trades are, look, all of these highly educated people are going to be willing to pay somebody a very good sum of money to do the stuff that they don't want to or know how to do.
Absolutely.
And you're going to see that shift as all of these people with master's degrees and PhDs start getting older. Those skilled trades are going to become even more valuable, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's not uncommon for welders to be making six figures anymore.
Nah, I mean,
not even
I don't know.
carpenters, welding. I mean, even an enterprising individual who wants to mow lawns, man, you crush it doing that now.
Yeah, you have to get education in a sense where, I don't know, you have to look at the way the school systems are structured. The school systems aren't structured to teach you how to make money.
No.
That's the reason why they
not.
teach you the same bullshit year after year after year, the same kind of history, the same kind of math. And then what they do is they're hoping that you go to college and spend thousands of dollars to get some damn degree that you're probably not going to end up using because because you're doing something that your parents want you to do.
Yes.
Right.
If you think about it, the highest paid degrees are actually just incredibly educated skills.
That's it.
Doctors, lawyers, nursing, computer science, all of those are teaching skills. Like handyman skills for the body, you know?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
keep that in consideration. I went to school after I got out of the Air Force and I got a degree in economics, and I thought to myself, everyone's going to care and it's going to open so many doors for me. The only thing it ever did was let me check the box to say I have a bachelor's degree. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, I think. One of academically.
Yeah.
I didn't graduate from high school, so when I walked across that stage to get my bachelor's
dope, bro.
degree,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what's up.
That's dope. Oh,
Yeah, so, but I was fortunate that the costs were cut down because I was in the Air Force, so I had GI Bill to pay for it. I don't think I would have gone to college if I had to just straight do student loans at all. And while I was going to school, I started a painting business. I hated painting. I made more money in 3 months than I have ever made doing anything else, man.
See, painting is a
So
dope trade, man.
It's not really that hard, but people hate doing it,
Yep.
and they're willing to pay you. And the guy that a childhood friend actually mentored me on some things to do that, and he's making a killing, you know,
Yeah.
painting and doing wood restoration and stuff like that. So it's all out there. You just gotta go get it. You gotta be willing to go get
And you
it.
got to be willing to work for it. I mean, a lot of people don't want to put in the time to learn. I mean, you have to think about all the time you spend playing games or all the time you spend doing just dumb shit, you know, surfing the web or being on IG, whatever it is. Think about, you know, that 30 minutes you spend a day doing some dumb shit. You could be on 30 minutes on YouTube just trying to self-teach yourself how to, like, you know, unclog a drain or how to paint some cabinets or some shit, you know? That trade's gonna carry you a lot further than playing some goddamn video games all day for half an hour.
Man, so video games are, I can't play them anymore. My friends and I used to play a ton of them when I was younger, and that industry is exploding. Like the professional gaming leagues and things like that, which we're talking about, don't waste your time playing video games, and now we're talking about like how crazy it is that there's people out there who strictly stream video games and they've got like 1 billion followers that watch them play a game. That's like
That's
can't.
insane.
I still have yet to wrap my head around that. My son Bryson is a gamer, and I know that he's like on Twitch and he has his own YouTube channel.
Oh,
Check
that's
him
dope.
out.
That's dope.
And Amp Full Blast, I think, is his channel, and he streams his games and stuff.
Oh, that's dope.
I don't understand why you do it, kid, but you love it, and I love you, so I support you in that hustle, man.
That's funny.
Yeah.
No, my youngest son is actually trying to do that too. So I mean, I game. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll be playing Call of Duty like pretty much every day.
Can't do it anymore.
But it's, for me, it's more so I do it where, to me, it's a habit, right?
Okay.
It's a habit because when I get stressed or when I get like anxious about something else, you know, maybe I have something in my day that kind of like I just want to decompress a little bit. You know, I'm like, I'll go game for a minute, I'll play for like, you know, half an hour, or whatever. Sometimes I'll game, dude. Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn. But after I'm done, I'm like, I'm depressed and I'm down because I'm like, damn, I didn't accomplish shit today.
Right.
You know, so I get upset with myself. So that's one of those habits that I actually picked up on. Was I do it when I'm bored, I do it when I get anxious, or I do it kind of a self gratifying thing, right? But also I love playing with my kids and stuff like that because I'm a big kid, you know what I mean?
Right?
So
and
I
you should
enjoy
never
doing
lose
it.
that.
Yeah.
You should never lose that.
I'll probably be like 60, 70 year olds still gaming, I don't give a damn.
That's actually really interesting that you pointed that out because I used to play video games for the enjoyment of it. Obviously, I think that probably goes without saying. Just be quiet, right? But then I started noticing that everyone got so good at Call of Duty that I would go to play and I would just end up breaking controllers because I would spawn and die, and I was like, it stopped being fun. So then I went to even just 6 months ago, I went to play again, and I thought I was getting killed fast before. Dude, everyone, I spawn and there's a claymore in front of me now. I can't handle that. There needs to be a rookie league where people are like, look, man, I get it. You suck at this. Here, play with other people.
That's like me with Fortnite, man.
So I can't even.
Dude.
I've seen some people play that, and I'm just watching it, and they're building stairs in the middle of nowhere with recycling pieces and parts, and just I can't.
Dude, I go on there, I'm dead like instant 5 seconds. My youngest son's in there just killing man, I did this, 3-person kill within 15 seconds, and dude, and he'll be getting up what? And I'll get on there, I'm like, all right. Dude, dead. Fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah, you can't even stay alive long enough to figure out the buttons anymore.
I'm done with this shit. I cannot play this, man. I ain't got time.
And that's where I'm at. And I feel the same way sometimes when I watch TV. And I watch TV to decompress too. But I'm sitting there watching a show, and I'm like, I should be reading a book. Mm-hmm. And then I look at my phone because I use my Kindle, and then I look back at the TV, and I'm just like, man. No, and that's so bad.
See, what's funny is I did a video last week and I was talking about habits, right? Mm-hmm. And there's these reasons why we have these habits that we're always going to, but the reason why we do these habits so much is because it makes us feel good.
Yeah.
But it's not healthy for us.
Yes.
But we do it because it's comfortable for us.
Yeah.
Right? So one of the things I'm learning right now throughout my work day, because I work from home.
Oh, nice.
So through my work day, I try to pay attention. Now my regimen is I wake up in the morning, about 5 o'clock, my son and I will go to the gym, hit the treadmill for 45 minutes, we'll come home, I'll eat breakfast, and then I'll start work.
Okay.
And then during my work day, I'll have my eating schedule. But throughout that day, I have to be cognizant of, if I'm gonna get sidetracked.
Right.
Or, okay, I gotta make sure this person's taking care of my IG for me. I gotta make sure, this person's over here taking care of, maybe an apparel or things like that. So I have to be cognizant of what I'm spending my time on and making sure if I get bored, I don't get distracted by other stuff. You know what I'm saying? If I have a lunch break, okay, I'm gonna go play games for a minute. If I have a lunch break, it's no, what can I do on this lunch break?
Yeah.
Can I go and figure out a way to, watch a motivational video, or am I gonna do something more constructive with my time? And the more I've been doing that lately, I realize now when I want to sit down and play games, I want to leave because I'm like, man, I could be doing something else. What else can I be doing? I got to get up. I got to go hustle. I got to go do something because now it's giving me a whole different energy. I want to get out and just grind constantly. That's why I'm always so busy, because when I'm not busy, I feel bored.
Yep.
So I'm always slotting things in my day because I'm if I'm busy, I'm working. If I'm working, I'm making progress. If I'm making progress, that means eventually it's going to pay off. And I'm getting paid off. Eventually, everything's just going to boom. It's going to explode.
Right, and that's where I'm at too. Is I do try to put my time in where I'm going to get my highest return on investment. Mm-hmm. And that's not only a money mindset but a growth mindset too. And I think that's for any entrepreneur that's out there and you're grinding and you're getting it in. just remember that you should be constantly developing yourself, because as a coach, why should anybody ever pay me to help them if I'm not constantly improving me?
Absolutely.
Because how can I sit here and tell you that you can do better if I'm not actively working to do better?
Absolutely.
So
you can't be a hypocrite, right?
No, well, and we all are in some way, shape, or form, right? But we got to try to minimize that.
No, but I mean, it's like an alcoholic who's currently an alcoholic trying to tell you to stop drinking.
Yeah, like your drug rehab counselor who's at home snorting
or like a drug addict, a drug addict who's sitting there smoking weed or doing a line right in front of you before he tries to tell you to say no to drugs. You know what I'm saying? But you run into people who are doing that, and you're like,
absolutely.
Like, how are you gonna try to give me advice, dude? You can't even like take care of your own shit.
Which comes right back to what we're talking about with Un1que Apparel and everything that you're doing. You're improving the community constantly, and it's authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a brand. This isn't a brand. It's a message.
Yeah,
it's a
right.
statement. It is about being yourself, and you are unapologetically Benny Ruiz.
That's right.
And I love it.
I appreciate that.
And
bro.
I try to be unapologetically Andrew Carroll,
Hey,
but
no,
I
you
say
are.
I'm sorry a lot.
But it's a good I'm sorry, right? You're like, hey, I'm sorry I said this, and you don't agree with it, but it is what it is.
And it's definitely, everything is improving, man, and things in my life are coming together nicely. And,
I see that, man. I'm happy for you, bro.
It's
for
a
real.
huge blessing. I'm glad we finally got to connect, man.
I appreciate this
It's
shit.
fantastic.
Hell yeah.
So, probably running low on battery too, but I like to always close it out by asking, if you could tell the world one thing to make it a better place, to help humanity and spread the love, what would it be? What would you tell people?
So, first and foremost, I always tell people confidence means greatness. You know, as long as you're confident enough in yourself, you're able to achieve anything that you want in this world. You just have to believe in yourself enough to do it. As far as, changing people's lives, you have to take risks. You can't worry about what people are going to say, how they're going to make you feel. If you see a person's appearance, don't judge it right away. Instead, why don't you try to, process in your mind, if you see a person of color specifically, are you thinking negative thoughts? If you see the way a person dresses or the way a person looks, is the first thing that pops in your head a negative thought? If so, then you have to understand that's intentional. It's intentional. There's a reason why you think this way. So you know whether it's right or wrong. So it's up to you to change it. It's up to you to change the way you think about people. It's up to you to change your perspective on the world. And once you start changing your perspective and changing your views on the world and changing your views on people, that's when you realize that we're all pretty much the same. We're all fucked up. We all have struggles. We all have issues. And we all want to feel loved and feel appreciated. And once you realize that, man, you're going to be untouchable and unstoppable.
That is absolutely true. And speaking of that we all have a story. We didn't touch on it in this instance, but you haven't always been so healthy mentally.
No.
And I would like to talk about that because mental health and depression, anxiety, suicidal attempts, ideations, and thoughts the conversation is growing. It's becoming a little more prevalent and people are a lot more aware. But I struggle and live with depression and anxiety, and I know you had shared with me that you have or still do as well. So do you mind touching on that a little bit?
No, not at all. So when I was younger, I had a lot of trauma, a lot of things that I had been through, that I experienced, and so I was at a point in my life when I was, I think it was like a sophomore in high school where I was dealing with some personal issues, coming from a background where my mom was 14 when she had me. I didn't know who my father was. I had a stepfather who was abusive, and he raised me since I was like 5 years old. When you're in high school, you're trying to fit in. You're trying to figure out, where you belong, what group of people you belong with. And so that was really hard for me because I never felt like I fit in anywhere. In addition to that, I actually found, a girl at that time who's my girlfriend. We had been together for a while, and we ended up splitting up. And it devastated me. It broke my heart, and I didn't know how to deal with that. And so it was an accumulation of that and an accumulation of all these other things going on in my life where finally one day I had had enough, and I decided, I want to take my own life, and I tried killing myself. I tried committing suicide. And, it was at that low point in my life where, I was in the hospital, and I was lying in the bed, and friends didn't come to see me, family didn't come to see me. I remember I actually called my ex-girlfriend, at that time when I was in the hospital, and she was like, "Nah, I can't come and see you." And I remember the nurse was in the bedroom, or not in the bedroom, but in the room with me when I was lying in the bed, and I was just crying, and she came over to me, she's like, "It's gonna be okay, you know." And earlier we were talking about this, and I had forgotten, because that's one of those things that I kind of blocked out, that I don't like thinking about, because I've grown past that now.
Yep.
And so it's a part of my past where I've moved on, and I forgave myself for that. But I remember, you know, there was a friend of mine and his sister, and I'm not going to give their names because I just don't do that, you know, out of respect for them and out of respect for her. There was a couple buddies of mine though, and his sister, you know, sadly ends up passing away in a car crash and whatnot. But I remember we were in the room and she was looking at me, and she was sitting there and she was just like, "Benny, you're fucking stupid. Like, you're a dumbass. Like, what the hell are you doing?" It was funny though, because she was faded. You know, it was like she had just gotten back from the club or something. And I remember waking up and I had like this tube in my throat, and I remember just belly up, and everything was foggy from like the meds and stuff. And she was just like, "Man, you're stupid as fuck. What's wrong with you? Like, you couldn't like go beat someone up, or, you know." She's like, you know, and she told me something like she isn't worth it and things like that. But they had thought that it was just about that relationship, and they didn't realize it was just, I was at my breaking point, because I was tired of living, you know, I was tired of struggling, I was tired of dealing with all these emotions and all this trauma, because I felt like I didn't have anything to live for.
Right.
I felt like no one gave a fuck about me. But while I was in the hospital, the people that came and saw me were actually these teachers that I knew from this alternative school that I was going to. And they had brought me like this pad and stuff, because they knew I liked drawing, I liked art. And at that moment, I was probably the most alone I'd ever been in my life. But it was at that moment I realized, like, I had to be like, fuck you. Like, fuck you, you know, to my family, fuck you to like friends, fuck you to everyone, fuck you to her, fuck you to everyone. And just realized that it was me, and I had to fix me, and I had to take care of me.
Right.
And no one else could do that for me. I had to figure out what I had to do to take care of myself. And it's kind of that moment of clarity where you realize that, you know, if your life is going to change, you have to change everything around you, because everything around you is what's actually making everything 10 times more difficult for you in the decisions you're making.
Absolutely.
And if you keep making the same stupid decisions over and over and over again, it's going to be the same fucking result.
It is,
right?
And that's insanity.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. The definition of insanity, right?
Yep.
So once I realized that, you know, I kept still making stupid ass decisions, you know, along the road, but I started making better ones.
Yep.
And eventually, you know, it took me on a path where I met my wife, got married, had my first son, had my other sons, and it was all these decisions I started making once I cut I hate using this term, but once I cut the cancer out with, I got rid of my family. I got rid of my friends, which a lot of people don't realize is they feel like it's family, like how you can do that. And it's like, if family is not, if they're not supporting you, and if your family is the one who's actually poisoning you, and they want you to fail, because all they've done is failed all their lives, they don't want to see you be successful. They want to see you in the same kind of misery that they've been in all their lives.
Absolutely.
You have to step back and look at it like, this is not family. Family is people who are going to be there and support you, and love you, and share the shit you want them to share.
Absolutely.
And like your posts and say, yo, what can I do for you? How can I help you?
Yes.
You know, through thick and thin, no matter what. But a lot of times that family ends up being other people that come into your lives where you're like, damn, you were like the last person I expected to be supportive.
Right.
And to support me in my dream and to understand what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So that's what I really learned is family isn't always family. Families are the ones who are there through your struggles. Families are the ones who are there when you're at your lowest, and they know who you are at your lowest, because when you're at the top, they're going to go with you and they're going to understand the grind, and they grinded with you. They struggled with you. They went through the pain with you, but they're also going to reap the benefits with you, because they're like, we did this shit together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the brand, I didn't build this brand on my own. I didn't. I had help from photographers. I had help from models. I had help from my ambassadors. I had help from my friends. And that's what you understand is the brand. It's not just me out here working it day in and day out. It's people who see the same vision, people who appreciate everything I do, but I appreciate and respect everything that they do.
Absolutely.
That's
And
how you change lives, man.
reciprocity too.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That was beautiful.
Appreciate it.
That was absolutely beautiful.
But back to mental health, okay? Just really quick.
Yeah.
Don't ever be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
But also, don't be the one who doesn't ask people if they're okay. You know, when I talk to my ambassadors, when I talk to anybody, friends, models, anyone I haven't talked to for a while, I'll hit them up out of the blue because it's who I am. Because I understand how it is to deal with things like that. And I'll just say, yo, how are you doing? You know, how's your mental health? Is everything okay? You know, do you want to go get a coffee? Do you want to go get a drink? Do you want to just go sit down and hang out and talk for a minute?
Yeah.
And one of my closest friends, who's actually an ambassador of mine, I won't drop their name also, but, you know, he actually reached out to me and told me, you know, I appreciate that. I respect that about you because you actually care about me.
Yeah.
You give a shit about me. You know, last time we spoke, man, this person was like lit up. They were like, yeah, man, you know, I've been doing good and I got a promotion and life is good and I feel my mental health is feeling better. And it was that experience right there that was more important to me than the brand and more important to me than that person being an ambassador for me. It was like, yo, like just seeing this person glowing.
Right.
Compared to when they usually are in that whole mental element where they feel down and they're just like, man, like it's been rough.
Right.
And just seeing like that whole, that brightness and that glow, and you're just like, hell yeah, like, that's what I'm talking about, you know?
Yes.
So don't be afraid, ask for help, man, because a lot of times people who need it aren't gonna ask you, and just pay attention, pay attention.
There are always signs, and we have been well trained to overlook them.
Absolutely.
We have been well trained to stay in our own bubble and not ever get out of our comfort zone. And for some reason, people are uncomfortable asking those questions. But that, seriously, just straight up saying to somebody, how are you doing, could be the difference. That could literally be the difference. And I just was in a meeting earlier this week, and someone was late because they were talking through some stuff with a supervisor who had one of their subordinates commit suicide.
Wow.
Yep, and it's real. It's happening all the time.
Absolutely.
It's a big issue, and even either one of us, you know, Andrew Carroll Presents on Instagram. Yours is
Benny Ruiz, Un1que Apparel, unique_apparel. Hit me up, or Benny Ruiz, don't matter, anytime, any place.
And just reach out, man. Like, it's that simple. If you need some help, at the very least, we can find resources for you. So we love you guys. That's a wrap, man.
That's a wrap.
That was
I love
fantastic.
you all. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it, man. Honestly.
Absolutely. So, what's your website? You have a website?
Yeah, it's www.uniqueapparel. The unique is with a 1, not an I, because people get that confused. So
Un1que
apparel.com. So holla at your boy. We'll be at FitCon April 22nd and 23rd. So
Yeah.
come through at the booth and say what's up. Try to get some swag, you know, show some love.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show, man. This is fantastic.
I appreciate it, brother, for real.
I appreciate you too. Thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. You guys be safe out there. We love you. Y'all are crazy.
That's right.
Like, share, follow, subscribe, spread the love around.
Yep. Show us some love.
Talk to you later.
Peace
Bye.
out, man.